I'd like to start this video by saying this feels like a weird time to talk about my teaching philosophy because I feel like I'm not really doing great in my student teaching, but I am learning some things about myself. To start out with, I need to be myself, and um, times when I feel like I'm playing a role or conscious of like, oh, I'm in the teacher role, uh, I I don't come across as genuinely. Um, and that's been a bit of a struggle. Um, but I will share an anecdote of a time a couple days ago, and I feel like some things went well that illustrate my philosophy. I was having students write from the perspective of a character in a picture during the 1920s in a history class. And a student was sleeping or trying to sleep, um, often does. And basically, from some of the conversation in the classroom, started sparking up about rapping and stuff like this. And one thing led to another, and I said, like, let's all write, let's do these as raps, or if you want to. And so that student, I basically like challenged him to a rap battle, and he was awake, looking at the text with the picture, getting the information he needed to write more about the picture, and he wrote a pretty good rap, and I wrote one too, and we had fun with it, and it was a little wild, but what was great about it is I was being myself. Two, it was very student centered, um, very much about what does the student need, what's going to work for them, um, and it showed a good moment of improvising and pivoting, which I think is important in teaching. Reading the room, noticing when you need to try something else, and in that case, it worked really well. And also, another aspect of my teaching philosophy, ideally, I feel students should be learning things when they need to use them to apply to something. Like, there goes my notes, like a project. Or in this case, it was his, mini project of writing a rap. And he took pride in it, and all those outcomes are like what I love about teaching. Even though it was just this one student that was really shining, the class enjoyed what was going on, and wasn't exactly what I had planned, but it worked out. So I don't know. I need to figure out more ways to get my the aspects of my personality into class, and to bring out aspects of the kids as well, in turn. Um, as far as technology, I do feel a little bit like it's a gray area right now, because at least in the school I'm at, and I think in a lot of schools, the Chromebooks that kids have end up being like quite a distraction, or it's hard to monitor what they're on. My school went on Go Guardian for a month and then didn't continue it. So when kids are on Chromebooks, if I can't see them all, I don't really know what they're doing, and they think of them as like their pacifiers, and it's really hard to get compliance with, let's put them away, or we can put it away for a little bit and then they start popping out. So it's really a struggle in that way, but just the fact that it needs to be babysat, or rules need to be put around things done with technology, is just sort of the reality of it. But there's still a lot of cool things. For instance, I think it's great for doing shared projects. So in my African American history class, it's a small class of about 4 or 5, and we're doing a collaborative timeline, and so all the students are working on the same timeline, but because we are able to use the technology of a shared timeline app, um, we can all be on one project together, keeps everything clean, and as long as I can circulate and see what everyone's doing, it's not so much of an issue about babysitting the Chromebook, and I even allow them to listen to music while we're doing it. Uh, it's sort of like a tricky balance because I believe in that and having music and stuff during learning, but I think, sometimes it's too distracting, so it's hard to tread that line. But I think the more you give students opportunities to deliberately listen to music or put it on, uh, the less of a struggle it is when you ask them not to. But that just all depends. Um, okay, and so as far as my Christian worldview stuff, like for me, the heart of the Christian worldview is forgiveness, and um, so I try to keep that close to my heart regarding anything that goes on with students and myself, and just to remind myself not to take anything personally and to immediately forgive anything towards me, um, but also um, uh, trying to promote understanding of each other's differences, each other's needs. Uh, when there's conflicts in the classroom, I really don't think I'm that great at that yet, but that's something that I strive for, you know, by example, but also, learning the right moves to make in different situations. Just knowing that even if it sounds dorky and I don't have a point A to point B for every situation, just believing in everyone's right to exist and thrive, and be themselves as much as I want to be myself. Um, so the Christian worldview as it feeds into community building and healing. So, as much as I feel pretty far from where I want to be as a teacher, I do have some aspects of a roadmap going on. With that, Ivy and I will continue our walk. Ciao.